Well, I always thought it would be cool to have a sailboat and be able to sail the world, so I would need to fly a flag behind my sailboat. And to fly a flag behind my sailboat, I need to have a mount for the flag to go into. So let's say we've designed this cool island life themed flag holder, but we want to give it that extra pizzazz. How about a base relief across its curved surface? Well, with Relief Maker, we can make that happen. So let's take a look at what we have to work with. So here in Relief Maker, I've got this model of this bird that seems to portray island life pretty well. So let's move that into the right position. Maybe we can get the most interesting angle, and let's make a base relief out of that. So I'll keep this as raised, and we'll go to Generate Relief here. You'll notice we have a pretty healthy margin around here because SolidWorks likes to tile things, and giving a little bit of an extra margin gives us a little bit of playroom or fudge factor or wiggle room, whatever you would like to call it. But this looks like a pretty good relief. So let's go to File, Export Relief. But instead of going with a 3D mesh, we want to go with a height map. Now SolidWorks tends to like linear, so we'll go with linear here, and we'll say OK. Now with that exported, let's head back to SolidWorks. Alright, now that we have this, let's add an appearance on this face. And we'll go with Browse. And then it's going to ask us, once we select our file, to save a P2M file. This, of course, is SolidWorks' own format for wrapping images on faces. It uses a P2M file, so since it created a P2M file for us, we'll save it in the same spot. Next, we might find that as we grow the size of this, it's not really growing the way that we would like. So we'll come over here to Mapping, and we'll choose, instead of automatic, surface. And now as I grow this, it seems to be much more predictable and well behaved. And there I have a bird on my height map that can be made into a base relief. So when we look at these height maps, right, the darker colors is no raise at all, and then as the color grows more and more close to white, the higher up that surface is going to be for a base relief. So I like what I'm seeing here. We're going to hit the green check, and then I'll say Insert, and we'll go with Features, and we're going to say 3D Texture. And notice that we select our body to texturize. We choose our island bird, and then for texture refinement, I'll raise this up here. Now, we are seeing a little bit of a busyness with these mesh lines, so I'm going to change my display style to not have any lines. I'll make my texture something like 0.175. And there we can start to see a base relief coming out of our flag mount. Really complements the island life pretty nicely, I think. Let's take our maximum element size and slam it way down. Remember, this is an exponential slider, so be very careful as you approach the high values. Excellent. So there we have some pretty good clarity on our bird. Maybe I'll go a little bit higher. And we'll accept that. And right there, we have a very well detailed bird on our flagpole mount. Now, a few tips, because SolidWorks really does like to tile these things, and it could get a little bit challenging. So I'm going to delete my 3D texture for a moment. And you'll notice that if I want to add my image to this face, even when we go to Mapping and Surface, Surface, it wants to tile all the way around our surface. And of course, we want this to be applied to only a certain part of our face. So what you can do is a split line, which is what I've done here. And you can see I made a sketch and then I split the face with that sketch. Right, so we can change this to commands and say split, and our split line right there will split this face into a size that we can add our bird. So if you have trouble fitting a base relief, you can always use the split line to make sure that your face is appropriately sized to fit whatever base relief you'd like to add. So now that we have a really cool and interesting and well-detailed base relief, we can 3D print this or do whatever we would like to make it, but Relief Maker makes it possible to have these interesting curved base reliefs here in SolidWorks. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the Relief Maker channel, and we'll see you in the next video.